That Wind Ranger pick to top us off here on the second game of these 3 best-of-1 tiebreakers. Cinderman, you agree with the panel and all that good stuff? I mean, one thing I'll say that BetBoom has going for them, they have hook save, they have dismember save once the shard comes online, and they have grab ally. How do you beat that?
True.
How?
They could save against focus fire with the tombstone.
That's right.
And they could get first blood or first blood dead.
So, Toronto Tokyo
is,
I'm just going to call him dead, Cinder, because the hook save was not there. They don't have grab ally yet because this is literally minus 37 seconds into the game, but Toronto Tokyo somehow lives.
Yeah, Quad Decay will do that. He had 16 additional strength there. I'm hitting a big one, and he does get out. Even though they missed the defensive hook, he still gets saved. So, do I agree with the panel? I think for the most part, when I saw this Medusa pick come out, closing the second phase, I was like, uh-oh, for BetBoom. Because from my perspective, I mean, this hero clearly is extremely powerful right now. It's got stupidly high win rate, and the games that we see, it just feels invincible sometimes. Ursa can, to an extent, deal with this hero, but I don't know if he can do it enough. And I don't think the rest of their lineup is particularly good against the hero, so I really want to see value out of that last pick Snapfire. It's not been looking inspiring so far in the tournament. Maybe Rezo can do some, can make some magic happen here, or has a cool build.
Yeah, from what we've seen with Ursa versus Medusa, it feels like you can't really, once it's like to mid game, you can't kill her in one burst. You kind of just have to like go in and out a bit to continue to get those stacks, because you have to wait out this Stone Gaze, because obviously, regardless of your build, it's going to be difficult. I guess if you get the shard, it makes it a little bit less annoying to deal with, but yeah, it's hard when there's a Coddle giving you mana as well. For the
it's when you think about it, the way Ursa kills these tanky heroes, it's always going to be a math game, right? And the problem is Medusa is just so stupidly EHP heavy that Ursa needs a ton of stacks if he doesn't mana burn her. So let's say he has the Diffusal, but you negate a big part of that with the Coddle, and Medusa hits a 2 or 3 hero snake and gets back to full. The amount of swipes you need to have to actually claw through her compared to other Ursa matchups that you would think like Timber saw in the mid game or whatever.
I'd be interested
it's just
to see,
ridiculous
do you
how much
think the 10 talent for Nightfall will actually be the 20-second Fury Swipe reset?
I think it has to be.
That basically doubles it?
He absolutely has to get that, but I'm kind of taking that into account when I'm making the claim that it's still going to be difficult, because I just think when Medusa has, let's say, Manta Scotty and a Coddle giving her mana, I don't know how many attacks you need to get through. It's a crazy amount. Rezo here is in big trouble. We'll get out.
Yep, he is technically fine, but it did take heavy, heavy damage. So what about the Wind Ranger? I mean, obviously, this is a hero that Sumail has played. I don't know if I've seen it on this patch yet, but he's obviously familiar with it. He knows what the skills do on the hero, you know, at the very least.
It's a bit of a wild card for me. I don't really know how to place it. I think the Diffusal Blade build is an interesting theory to run here. Even against the Storm, if you get him in a Shackle Shot when he's like half mana and you focus fire him, he might not be able to escape you after. So that could be interesting. It's also a good way to mana burn the Ursa. This hero is actually very mana reliant.
Frostbite.
Damage onto Resolution. They will get the first blood though.
Yeah, Resolution lives, and the support for Aster ends up dying. But Monet will get solo XP now.
Snap Pudge is a really strong lane, so that's definitely a good redeeming factor here for BetBoom. That lane slaps.
Do you agree with Effie in the build with the Diffusal for Rezo going for more like a right-clicky pseudo burning mana type strat?
I don't know. I think in theory it's interesting, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. That's the problem. If she didn't have Coddle in the team, maybe it's a more interesting concept, but I just don't know if you're likely to get through. Then the question is, otherwise, what do you buy? And I think you go Auras this game. I think you want Crimson Guard. You're a strength hero. You want Crimson. Or wait, you're Universal now, aren't you?
Yeah, she's Universal.
Yeah, but she has good strength gain, which is what matters anyway for the Crimson Guard. So you want Crimson against the Dusa and against the Wind Ranger. It's just a no-brainer item this game. It's exceptionally good. And Pipe as well, I wouldn't mind. I think just go the standard Aura items off lane. Pipe, Greaves, Crimson on your Snap, and then try to kill Deuce's team would probably be my verdict on the game. I think going on Deuce for their lineup is going to turn out to be a mistake.
That has seemed to be the strat for the most part from the Medusa games that we've seen. Ignore Medusa and hope it works out, and it hasn't worked out that well for a lot of teams.
I'm not saying it's easy, but
or pick Anti-Mage and lose. I have not seen Anti-Mage beat Medusa personally, but maybe it has happened this tournament, which is crazy because that used to be quite the counter. But we can expect Nightfall to, at the very least, go for Diffusal on the Ursa.
He's incredible on this hero, by the way. I don't know if the panel really touched upon this, but I feel like when he started making a name for himself in pubs, this was his #1 best hero. He's the best Ursa in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But I do think he has his work cut out.
Siamese Cat will die for a second time, so Save will
nice.
have 2 stacks of that flesh heap once he eventually levels it up.
The Pudge matchup is terrible for Maiden. She's too slow, she's too fragile. If she gets hooked, she's just dead, especially against Snap in the lane too. So nice and easy. And Medusa doesn't really offer any help, so they can try to take advantage of this in the top lane and find as many kills as possible. And so far, so good with those two.
Yeah, well, the bottom lane, like you talked about, Nightfall, 28 and 8 in the CS department. Ursa against Underlord, pretty damn good matchup for Ursa, usually.
Yeah.
Well, any melee, really. As you can see, the stacks are continuing to be applied to XXS. And along with Toronto Tokyo just throwing out those decays, it's not a very tanky Underlord. Usually his MO.
This is one of the hardest lanes for Underlord possible, right? It's Ursa as the carry and Undying as the support. I guess it would be worse for him to play against, let's say, Maiden Ursa. I actually think that's way worse because the Ursa gets to stick. At least with this lane, you can kind of create some distance. But just in the individual role, each of these heroes are considered.
Oh, they're going to try to go on top of Toronto Tokyo. He missed the decay on both heroes, so actually cost him in the end. They get the tombstone down. Nightfall gets 1 kill onto Baboka, and he's going to force XXS away. And yeah, he was forced to go back to the actual fountain, so it's going to be a long walk back.
Yeah, I've asked you this before. What do you call Ursa's second spell?
His second overpower?
Overpower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
You could also call it overpower. This is a verb.
Overpower?
Yeah, you overpower the enemy.
That's true. Are we doing this again?
Yeah, we are. I'm unstoppable.
Now in the mid lane, along with Save.
I can talk about nothing all day.
6 minute, I know that for sure.
It's level 6 now on Sumail.
6 minute rune about to pop. It's the bottom arcane, which Sumail will be able to get. So the rotation from BetBoom not going to work out directly, as GPK is now level 6.
XXS is in Pain City down here. This gets harder and harder. Ursa has the phase boots with level 5. This becomes more or less uninhabitable at this point. And it begs the question, do you put Coddle offlane now and just go jungle with Underlord? Because this hero has the luxury of being able to do that.
Yep,
GPK taking a beating.
Wow!
Oh!
Okay,
Oh, it actually did hit. He had Raindrop. He would have died.
Yeah, it looks like
That was a sexy snipe from Sumail, but not quite enough. Still, forced him back to base. But yeah, XXS, what's it going to be? I feel like you can't really stand here.
What do you do with Underlord then if you have to abandon lane? Just try to jungle?
Stack jungle camps with Firestorm level 3. I think you can definitely farm double stacked hard camps.
Oh, he's
and
not
Coddle
level 5 yet to be able to do that.
That's
now
true.
He is.
Coddle can sit in the bot lane and just farm it with Blinding Light and Illuminate or whatever.
Tokyo, he took some heavy damage from these Ancients.
They
Trying to
could
steal
also
that
do this.
wisdom.
They could bring over a third hero with the
is
support.
here as well. They should be able to get that kill. As Toronto Tokyo, he's going to take the path of least resistance, which might actually net him an extra life. He's fine. They're going to take this tombstone down on the cliff as well, so that's going to be... I mean, that's a lot of gold for XXS, taking down that tombstone, so that gives him some way to come back.
Nightfall is going Battle Fury first, so no Diffusal against the Dusa, which we thought was going to be the case, that he would get that. And I kind of like the panel's idea of rushing Diffusal and then going Fury after, but when you buy the Cornucopia here, you're committed.
Yeah.
This item is way too expensive to just get for value, so
yeah.
he's definitely going the Fury first, and maybe he's confident that, you know what, this Dusa can get farmed, I'm still going to handle it, I'll be enormous with my Battle Fury. Still expect a Diffusal at some point along the way.
Nice hook onto Sumail. Very nicely done, but he gets off the focus fire. He has some teammates coming as well, but he's going to get stunned out because basically half of BetBoom are here. And the Mortimer's Kisses, I think he just hit level 6 for resolution, so a second kill comes their way.
Well done by Save.
Nice rotations for BetBoom.
Really nice. Sumail was starting to pull far ahead of GPK in this mid lane, and now it's been somewhat equalized with that pick. He also forced Maiden to take the Illusion Rune and then kill her, so there's no power rune for Sumail. Well done.
Forced her to take the...
yeah.
Can make a nice SFM short out of that one, I think.
But I don't want the rune. You will take the rune.
I mean, Illusion Rune has been a one that you just don't want generally, but since they changed it, obviously the bottling you can dispel. Yeah. It's not so bad anymore.
It's got its uses.
Yeah.
It's just completely useless for her. So.
Yes, that is true.
What's it going to be for Sumail? I'm curious here. So he's going Atos. So I'm assuming it's a Gleipnir build-up, potentially.
Mech already online for Rezo.
Give some catch for the Storm, but don't know if it's the best choice here.
I mean, just look at the difference of net worth between the offlaners, so Underlord, Snapfire. Just crazy.
1,500.
Mech for Rezo, XXS is just about to finish his Vanguard, which we've seen people finish at literal 4 minutes.
Yep.
So, very, very bad start as the Shackle will connect for Sumail, and this will lead to the kill onto Toronto Tokyo. Oh, Siamese Cat was the one to actually get the kill itself. The support tax and whatnot. 10-minute rune about to spawn as well. They're actually scanning it out. Sumail will be getting a double damage, so been controlling the runes for the most part, other than that one where he ended up getting hooked to the entirety of BetBoom. So if you're going for the Battlefield, do you still, I mean, is it a mistake to go Diffusal later? Because it does have an upgrade path now, right?
I don't think so. I think you go Battlefield Diffusal, right? It feels like if you bypass it entirely, I mean, maybe I'm just mega biased for Medusa, but I've just seen what I've seen, right? I've seen some shit with this hero.
Got some PTSD for that Medusa?
Yeah, I don't know if you can really reliably kill her without having Diffusal on Ursa here. It is easily the best damage per gold against the hero that you can buy. And if it seems to be the primary problem you need to solve in the game, then for me it's kind of a no-brainer to get it at some point at least. So, yeah, get it after the Fury probably.
Okay.
Hook.
Save. Hook connects onto Siamese Cat. Sumail will cancel it. But let's see if it's at a cost, because Siamese Cat is certainly dead. Sumail already at half HP thanks to the rotation from GPK. Mortimer's Kisses too far. Sumail gets away. As Toronto Tokyo pops his wand, Monet.
Almost.
Not going to be able to finish him off. So it will be the Aura build for Rezo. Likely to be Greaves into... You said you wanted Crimson, and you do a Crimson and Pipe and Greaves?
Yeah.
You're just the monster
But if I had
Aura?
to pick one of them in this game, I think the best one is Crimson, because against Split Shot from Medusa and Focus Fire from Windranger, it's not going to get much more valuable than this to go Crimson. And since you do have good Strength Skin on Snap, even though she's a ranged hero and it might not be the most intuitive thing, I still just feel like it's too good to pass up on this game. So.
Okay. See if he ends up going for that.
Don't mind the Greaves first, of course. Like it's nice to be able to dispel the root of the Underlord for yourself, and the burst heal is obviously nice. If you want to give the mana to your Storm too, there's a lot of
12-minute rune. It'll benefits. Be bottom invis, so another one for.
Has he got every rune except the invis that or illusion that Maiden was forced to take?
I think he's gotten every rune. Yeah. So guessing correctly,
Sumail got two, but I guess those might be bounties.
Well, yeah.
So.
Awesome. I mean, it's water runes as well.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
2 water runes. So I think that's all he's gotten.
Yeah. No power runes for GPK.
Yeah. So GPK, he did get some help thanks to that gank, but he's still 500 behind Sumail.
The other 2 lanes are doing very well though.
I bring this up every time we cast him because we see it all the time. Just forget to hold that thought. Actually, Sumail. Okay, Shackle Shot does hit. Nightfall's going to take a Firestorm, but you can see that Nightfall is backed up by a bunch of teammates. Sumail, he's going to TP out though, so looks like Aster are not going to remain in numbers here. But Battlefield online for Nightfall, so very good timing. Just needs a few more minutes for Diffusal and BKB likely. Resolution's going to get gone on, pops the mech, but the Focus Fire is just too much. XXS gets some much needed XP. Could go back into the Fiend's Gate, but we can see it's surrounded.
Yeah, unlike Relocate, with this you actually don't have to die after, which is kind of nice.
Nightfall will... Okay, he's actually not going to fuse at all. It'll be Blink into BKB, so they want to get aggressive and they want to fight early, which is another strat you can go against Medusa. But we've seen Medusa, after 2 items, feel unkillable in a lot of these games.
Right. That's still my biggest concern, and it's still the story of the game. I feel like in this patch, Medusa just commands a different level of respect than it did in the past, where it felt like you could, solve the Dusa game by having halberds, or by kiting her, or by, just overwhelming her with damage that wasn't necessarily mana-based. But now, with the math working the way it does with damage per mana, it's...
BK looking for his first rune of the game, but he's going to get A-Toast instead. We'll zip away. Rune is top. It's a regen. Frostbite onto Toronto Tokyo, but another rune for Sumail. As Nightfall, he can see this Ancient stack, and Monet's going to get hooked into the arms of the bear. Instant TPs coming from Aster, as Monet just has enough mana to use his ult, so should live through the day. Save will pay the ultimate price. Very close, though. Almost the exact amount of mana was needed to use Stone Gaze there. As Nightfall going to take some damage from Sumail. Do they actually have enough? Because he does have his ult. No reinforcements coming, though. There's the Pit of Malice. Will he try to go through the gate? He will, but not even remotely close. So a big, big turnaround for Aster.
Dare I say that's a kill with a diffusal? I mean, not gonna fault him for buying the Fury. I think it's fine, but
well, if,
they needed one more hero.
Fury, you don't want to fight with it, right?
Yeah.
And they hooked him right under a tower.
I can understand where they're coming from going for that, because like it was kind of close, right? I don't think
it was.
If Monet was just a slight bit less tanky, this whole play is perfect if they had one more hero there, but it's lots of ifs and buts, and at the end of the day, misjudged the situation, and it's a big win for Aster. They get Monet saved, they get the kills, and they get bot tier 1 in one fell swoop there. So now they finally, for the first time this game, have the gold lead, and their lineup is definitely one that I would overall favor at this point in the game if the gold is even. Like, I think that's all they need. They don't need to be winning.
Dave, hook, successful onto Sumail. Not the greatest layering of stuns, and that might actually cost them the kill. But Mortimer's Kisses is there to help finish him off, so eventually they do find it. But GPK's already used all his mana, and he's just gonna die.
Dear.
A 1-for-1, not exactly what you're looking for BetBoom. And if they layered those correctly, I think that's just an outright kill without having to go any further.
Yeah, most likely. That definitely could have been better in terms of execution, and that's going to cost them dearly. This Storm Death is... I mean, the Wind Ranger still has higher net worth, so you could argue from a numbers perspective that it's still good to trade, but you really need the Storm to start picking up some steam here, and not really...
Toronto Tokyo
best
getting
game
hooked
so
to
far.
safety. He's a big flesh golem boy, as Pipe is now complete for Rezo. And XXS, who of course had a horrific start to the game, does have his Crimson Guard now to go along with his Arcane Boots.
How does Crimson Guard work with Medusa?
I mean, why would it be any different?
How much mana you lose depends how much damage you take. But the Mana Shield probably shouldn't... The Mana Shield doesn't work before Crimson, right? So if you Crimson the Dusa, she loses 0 mana to the first physical attacks from Ursa, because the Crimson absorbs it before the shield, right? Barrier comes first. So it's Barrier, then it's Mana Shield, right?
I think so.
I don't actually know what the order is, and it's pretty important for how good Crimson is for Medusa in her team. I mean, either way, it's obviously going to be good. It's not like it doesn't work, but would be curious to see this, because again, every Medusa game right now, it feels like it's just a game of math. Like, do you have it or do you not?
And then there's Pipe on top of that, right?
Yep.
Multiple barriers.
Absolutely.
And the shield room that he'll have for the end of the game.
One tanky lady.
How many shields can you have is the real question. The gate's being used by BetBoom. Onto the bottom of the map, and they might want to try to go for Monet, but this will be a bit ambitious. As vision control is here for Aster. And Monet working on the Scotty, and from the games that we've seen, which again, in the grand scheme of things, is still not that many, once you get Scotty on this hero, that's when it starts to feel extremely difficult to kill her. And that's including games where they already have diffusals, which they're not even opting to go for at all. Maybe there's some other strat that I'm not seeing.
And she's not the only hero that's progressing either, right? That we ever so silently, the Caudle is reaching some key items here. Like, he's close to 4-staff, he has the Glimmer on Baboka, and this hero will outfarm the supports on the enemy team. Save, going for a hook
gets
here.
The hook, but he's in enemy territory. Big Mortimer Kiss is coming as Monet
absolutely not going to work.
And it's a very, very, very easy turnaround onto the Putka.
That was just flat out.
Well, looking for an opening on a Shackle shot, but not going to opt to go for it. So 2K lead for Aster.
That was just naive. I mean, I don't know, maybe they had a read that Aster's hero were elsewhere, but...
Maybe his death is worth the cooldown of Stone Gaze and they can fight now.
Yeah, it was a bait.
They're going to smoke right when he's up and they'll kill Medusa, who's now farming Ancient.
Sumail with the completed Gleipnir now has very reliable ways of setting up Shackle. The reason this item is interesting on Windranger is obviously you can just Gleipnir people and then Shackle them to trees, but it also gives you an opportunity to get 2-hero Shackles way more consistently. Because if you see 2 heroes in a fight, you Gleipnir them together, you have level 4 Windrun to reposition and Shackle them both. In essence, you're rooting them for 2 seconds into, what's that, a 3-second stun? So you're controlling them for 5 on your own.
Yeah.
That is really strong, and especially against a hero like Storm. So BKBs, once again, are going to be important for the Radiant side. We have for Nightfall. He has the hammer so far. Still quite a bit of ground to cover for that. 2K away. And Storm went Kaya-san, so he's not buying it.
Should mention that it's also 20 minutes in the game, which not only for Tormentors, but normally by this point, Ursa teams would want to have Roche.
That's true.
They have not gotten. And a big change to Roche is he never will drop Shard anymore, so... And these will not drop for Ursa, so he has to buy it himself.
That's a very good point, actually.
That's a very important item for that hero.
It's a pretty... Oh, damn, this is taking forever. They'll get it.
They'll get it.
It's a pretty big nerf to Ursa. That's a really good point, because Ursa's Shard is one of the best in the game, and he doesn't reliably get it anymore. In the last patch, you could... I mean, you couldn't trust Ursa to get the second Roche every game, but it was a pretty big part of the... It was like an expected part of the strategy if you executed it correctly.
Yeah.
And not only isn't he guaranteed to get it, he's also going to have a harder time getting the Aegis, because Roche is just a harder kill in general. He got buffed, right? So definitely two meaningful nerfs to the hero.
So now Keeper of the Light has Shard, which means Recall is there. Or Recall, that's another one that you could pronounce either way, Cinderin. However your heart, whatever your heart desires.
Always said Recall.
Total Recall. They smoke up. I'm not sure if they saw this for BetBoom. This is the
Fast
Scotty reveal.
20 minutes.
4.5 minutes faster. That's crazy.
Yep. All right. Time for Medusa to frontline.
Yep.
Well,
they TP'd out, so Roche is like, hey, would you like to kill me, please? Please kill me.
Focus Fire is good at this.
Yeah, this should be a freebie.
And this is the Ursa team just conceding Roche.
Yeah, and that
for no
gain
gain.
Worse.
That's concerning if you're a BetBoom fan, I have to say, because like from my perspective, their lineup is meant to be good right now. Like you have Ursa, you have Storm, you have these tempo cores, you have auras on Snap, but they're not being put to use. So effectively, all of this net worth that you've placed on these heroes is not being realized, whereas the enemy team's net worth is being fully realized. The Dusa and the Windranger are going to just scale, and the auras from Underlord feel like even if they're not being put to use from his side, I don't feel like they're the ones on a clock. So they can just take the team fights whenever they want. They can force them, and then they can get the value.
Yeah.
Whereas BetBoom kind of feel like they would need to do it soon.
I'm not sure how fast they want to prioritize the Shard on Monet. We talked about this earlier. He is going for Daedalus, but this is another amazing Shard game because you have these... Well, you have a bunch of melee heroes, and in general, these heroes on BetBoom are going to be grouped up. And any stun, like Electric Vortex, single target, that's instant mana refresh for Monet. Dismember after a Stone Gaze or something like that, instant mana back. That could be pretty valuable. I mean, he hasn't been remotely close to dying, other than that one time, I guess, but we'll see how much he prioritizes actually purchasing that Shard. But I think this has been a bit of an undervalued Shard so far. As Nightfall forced the BKB out of the pit, and he's going to continue to get chased.
Uh-oh.
Gleipnir is up, but...
Oh, if he dies here.
All right, the Cookie, that was an interesting interaction there.
Get him out of there.
He's fine.
Maybe
Ressa won't get spotted and will TP out as well. So right. BetBoom playing with fire here, or arrows in this case.
I feel like it's very telling that they give the Aegis to Sumail, right? Like,
yeah, they're not worried at all.
You usually, in the past, this Aegis goes on Medusa 10 out of 10 games. But they just feel like Monet can't die, so why bother? Put it on the other core, and now you have two immortal heroes.
Yeah, and he does have the Great Healing Lotus, so that's, I think, 3 of them combined, not the big one.
Yeah, so the great one's 400, right? So 400 health, 400 mana? Yeah. And on Dusa, that's obviously a ton of EHP to be able to use at any point. He has that and the wand. So those two...
Oh, they're going to take the enemy Tormentor as
Ursa,
well.
kill the Tormentor.
Yeah.
You really want to do this with Ursa. I mean, if you're not going to play aggressively, at the very least, this just seems like a grab, right?
Yeah.
Ursa is so good at killing this. He can just use Enrage.
Well, he knows he's not going to get it, so he doesn't care.
That's fair.
That's the problem.
Why bother if you don't like your teammates?
I mean, what shards would they have gotten here?
Undying or Pudge, they're both like really good.
Yeah, they're actually very good.
This, yeah, I don't know. They seem a little bit hesitant, I guess is the right word here for BetBoom.
What I'm missing here is the overall strategy from BetBoom. Like, at what point are they going to be ready to fight? Because Medusa, it's not like this was a last pick, surprise, in-your-face hero. Like, what's the idea here? They're not bothering with diffusals. They haven't really wanted, if they've been dodging fights for the most part. They give up Roche as an Ursa lineup. They give up their Tormentor.
I mean, maybe they just have a different perspective and a different read on Medusa than we do. And I just respectfully disagree. Like, I just don't think what they're doing right now is a winning strategy.
Oh, Sumail gets the Gleipnir. No mana at all onto the Storm. Beautiful Shackle shot as well. That is going to be a dead GPK.
Uh-oh.
That hurts. He does have buyback, but I mean, it's only 25 minutes in the game. And this is feeling like Aster is just rolling over BetBoom.
I think you just go high ground. 40 seconds is more than enough. Without the Storm, they can't defend. You can try some sort of cute hook into maybe catching the Medusa or whatever inside the base, but are you actually even going to be able to kill her with these 4 heroes is the question. If you use everything, I think she might still live.
Hits on Sumail, but he gets the instant shackle. Actually not going to latch, though. There's the Gleipnir onto 3 heroes. Resolution forced to use the cookie on himself. And Monet, he was getting targeted initially by Ursa, but now he's getting horribly kited. They're just trying to buy some time for the Storm Spirit to be alive in 10 seconds. Nightfall already at half HP. Tier 3 tower down to half HP as well. And Aster might just take this, and we'll see if they reset, knowing that the Storm Spirit's coming up, as the hook will connect on the Monet. And GPK uses a lot of mana, but has to redirect back to the Medusa, who, again, does have the Aegis, uses the Greater Healing Lotus as well, gets Force Staff to safety, wants to try to save this Aegis if they can, and a beautiful freezing field with the Frostbite as well, as GPK will die. 50 seconds, and he does not have buyback now. Okay, now I'm confused. What did he buy? As now, Gleipnir again, Aster still with the Aegis.
Oh, nice
beautiful shackle onto 2. Down goes Undying. Nightfall and Resolution will likely have to just give up this set of racks. They were pretty close to killing Monet, who doesn't have the Aegis.
They definitely were. They got a nice hook angle. They got a full-on connection from the Ursa, but got the Lotus off, like you said, and then got Force Staff twice and Chakra'd, and they couldn't get it done.
There's the hook. Aegis is now down. Gleipnir again for Sumail, looking for an opening. Another double shackle, but Overpower's already popped from Nightfall, so status resist is activated. And the melee racks is down, and the lead has doubled in the last 2 minutes.
Yep.
And Aster in firm control of this game. Been clinical. I feel
yeah,
absolutely clinical play from Aster.
Now it feels like BetBoom are like, all right, guys, we can't wait any longer. We gotta take some initiative. We gotta take some risks, and they will. They're gonna smoke up, look for a move mid. Sumail still has the Aegis, I believe, so this is...
No, that got expired.
Oh, that got expired, okay. Well, the hook missed, so this play is kind of fully telegraphed now and kind of over. Storm Spirit will jump in, though.
Yeah, they use everything to try to get this Underlord, but instant Stone Gaze from Monet. It's not gonna be enough to save their fat, juicy friend, but Nightfall has already popped that BKB.
That's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, not bad. 5v4 situation in favor of BetBoom, but again, with the BKBs down, let's see how much they actually want to... Yeah, they're not going to even bother. Nightfall has to just wait for that cooldown. He's going for the Basher. We have Halberd on Resolution to try to deal with this Medusa as well.
Yep.
Obviously, very good items, but they just... I mean, the issue with Ursa is getting in the face of the Medusa is just so difficult. Stone Gaze absolutely decimates every melee hero in the game.
Ursa's one of the better ones at dealing with it, but even so, I think the bigger problem is the Force Staffs, right? Like they can just, as long as Monet gets to turn, he won't die.
Yeah.
They can pike him out with Sumail. They have the force on Caudle, I believe it is, right?
Well, that's the thing about getting Shard on Ursa.
And force on Maiden. They have 3.
Like, you have to use your full ult for a Stone Gaze, then you won't have it for anything else.
Yep.
But for Stone, if you have the Shard, you just overpower, or you Earth Shock right before it's about to proc, and you get full value. So I feel like maybe that's an item that you just need to prioritize as Ursa.
Yeah, you might need to buy it. I'm kind of with you. I think buying Shard now feels like a good choice. It's 1,400 gold. You're not going to get it from the... I mean, you didn't even kill the Tormentor, so then you're not getting it from the Tormentor.
Yeah, make your supports buy their own shards so that you can get the drop on the next Tormentor.
Yeah, they only have the Snap Shard, so there's a long way to go. There goes the tier 2 mid. Aster.
Yep, and Aster will likely just wait for this next Roche, which in 30 seconds we'll find out how long that spawn will be. And this will be the Aegis and Cheese.
It's so funny to watch the... Like, nobody in Aster uses voice lines more or less. It's just Sumail. Using the in-game ones because they get translated, right?
Yeah,
like,
they get auto-translated.
They ping some misses or whatever, but Sumail's like, sorry, be right back.
Yeah, they have a...
Nice.
He's probably had to add a few chat wheel lines just to be able to communicate.
The global language of chat wheel.
That's right.
Transcends all culture. Sumail finds save.
Save should
kills
be done.
Save.
Indeed.
Buy save.
Bye. GPK and Toronto Tokyo on the corner of the map here. Looking for a couple Lotuses. Yeah, those are pretty juicy, but gets a little vision thanks to his static remnant. They've taken over a Watcher, but they don't see anybody. It's Toronto Tokyo is just sitting on the other side of the Roche pit.
Oh, wait. The Caudle smoke actually broke in the pit. I don't think he realized. If Popoka would have noticed that, maybe they could have deduced where the...
Surmised,
if you will, where the Undying was.
yes.
Yes, indubitably.
Aster continue.
Oh, imagine when Dusa gets this butterfly. Then all of a sudden, what's Ursa going to do then?
Well, he is building MKB.
Yeah, but is he going to get it in time? I think the butter... Maybe they come around at the same time, actually. Let's see.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, never mind. It might line up okay.
Roche up in 1 minute and 12 seconds. And that'll still be during the daytime, so it'll be in the bottom right. This is the area of control that Aster want to solidify for themselves. And that's the cool thing about having these 2 Roche pits. I know we've talked about it in theory for so many years, but having to change the area that you need to take over.
Yeah.
But kind of the issue right now is Aster's just controlling literally the whole map, so maybe it doesn't make that big of a difference.
That's not Ice Rock's fault. I mean, by proxy it kind of is because he made Medusa.
Yeah, Medusa is quite something.
Not the map's fault.
Both teams know that Roche could be spawned, so the smoke from BetBoom, this could be just disastrous.
All right. I mean, they can't jump Monet, right?
Yeah, if they get the hook, he's just going to instant Stone Gaze and then full reset. But they're going to try for it. Keeping onto the outpost, but I think that gave vision on Nightfall.
They broke. They see them.
Yeah, and Save and company, they
might
Monet,
just be whatever.
Yeah,
Let's
now
go.
they know that they know that they know that they know, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Monet, he's not scared. Solar Crest applied to him. There's the zip in. A lot of mana used already for GPK.
Destroy!
And he
Used
just has to
everything.
go away. Save is the sacrifice for BetBoom. Roche is now up.
I mean, even if he connects on Sumail there, that was just not possible. That play was impossible. He jumped Sumail 2,000 range away from all his allies. If he connects on him and he gets the Vortex, I still think Sumail just doesn't die. And then he just 4 steps away and you're still in 0 mana territory. So
see, this is where
that just didn't work.
This is where having the pits on the corners of the map makes it very awkward and why you're not seeing that many contests because it's really difficult to find angles.
Yeah.
If in the river before, literally full circular area you can come from. So I think that is something that
could definitely be redesigned a bit.
well, who knows? Like it's still early on, and teams have not optimized, obviously. So
but it's like if you look at the terrain in the corner, right? You could rebuild this area so that you could get in behind easier and find more angles.
That's where the gates should be.
Definitely push it up, push it more towards the lane. I would agree with that change.
It's a bit too far in the corners, I think, right now.
Yeah.
But there's the butterfly now. And Cheese online for Monet as well.
They gave the Aegis to Sumail again, despite this being their high ground Aegis.
All he has to do is pop Cheese, and that's basically second life for Medusa,
True.
right?
True.
Nightfall already used his ult.
And that's true. Yep. Here we go.
There's the hook.
Okay.
Monet pops the Manta. shrugs it off. His illusions were changed, of course, to get the mana shield properly, and they are ridiculous now.
They are stupidly tanky.
Yep, as you can see, they're still taking no damage.
Okay, and now the first one is weakened, but it has evasion.
Okay, very good.
Nice hook.
Oh, he got the right one. Very good hook, but into what exactly?
Into looking at her.
Yep, they are looking.
Just Medusa favored.
That is second racks now for Aster, and at some point, BetBoom have to do something. Hook misses this time. As Aster just repositioning and just casually going to be going for this Mega Creep situation. Gleipnir trying to force Nightfall's ult again, which he will use. Save jumps in as well, but there's a beautiful Underlord Pit of Malice. And you can see that Pudge not only dies, has to buy back, overpower. Everything is down, it feels like, for BetBoom. This is going to be tough to defend. Toronto Tokyo has to use his ult, but oh my god, he just gets destroyed. He has no buyback, so 5v4. Will they even attempt to fight? This looks hopeless. They just call it GG. And I can't blame them. Aster, dumpster.